An elderly hag has no seat. Return home. My mother and I went to the corporate party. Before Catherine Simpson, a nasty employee, told my mother this, we were enjoying ourselves. Yolanda, Catherine's mother, further exacerbated the situation by acting haughtily. I was furious, but my mother was the first to speak. Catherine, could you please call your branch's top official? The Simpsons' reputation was immediately destroyed by this single sentence. Diana Krall is my name. I work for the corporation, and I am 48 years old. My mother, Helen, is vivacious and has a flower store. My father went away 11 years ago. She wasn't operating a flower business from the start, of course. She was once a very involved employee of the corporation. The corporation wanted her to continue in some position even after she retired, but she decided to take a full retirement. She stated, I want to take it easy now because it's not good for an old woman to stay on site forever. Because she loved working with flowers, she decided to create a flower business. My mother has always had a deep affection for flowers, and she said that they helped her get through difficult times when she worked. The wonderful thing about flowers is that they don't speak. They are lovely, and they don't say things that aren't required. Thus, simply gazing at them soothes my thoughts. She kept flowers on her desk at work and frequently used them to adorn the house. Since she opened her flower shop, my mother seems to love every day. On my days off, I occasionally assist at the shop as well. I'm thankful that it naturally provides us with mother-daughter connection time. It may sound like a happy narrative based just on this, however, I'm having problems with someone at work. Catherine Simpson is her name. Catherine is a 24-year-old young employee who works in the same branch and department as me. It is expected of young people to infuse the company with vitality, yet Catherine is the complete opposite. She disturbs the workplace and causes problems for a variety of people. For instance, we met with a client on business during her first year. We decided to meet at the client's office because I had another assignment. However, even though the meeting was scheduled to begin, Catherine failed to appear. I apologized to the client and began the meeting by myself since I was unable to get through to her on her work phone. The pleasant conclusion was about to be reached when Catherine arrived with a light-hearted demeanor. Excuse me, I suppose I'm running late. She began licking the ice cream cone she was holding. The male employee of the customer looked, of course, incredulous. Why do you think you're acting that way and arriving late? He was furious, but Catherine didn't care. What's making you so angry? I was in line to purchase the new smartphone because I wanted it. That explains my tardiness. Naturally, the client rejected such an explanation. Do you think we're inferior? He became even more irate. Anyone would typically apologize at this time, but Catherine is not like that. Wow, you're really mad. Oh, are you interested in this ice cream? I got it from a buzzing store. Absolutely not giving this to you. Slurp, slurp. She provoked the client even more, making him angrier. I'm terribly sorry. Catherine, go home now, I instructed, pushing the grumbling Catherine out. I came here to work, and now it's just a trip. Oh. After that, I apologized to the client repeatedly and somehow managed to close the deal. Thinking about it now still makes me sigh. I never want to go through that again. But Catherine never considers others' feelings. She has caused similar troubles multiple times, and there's now a rule that she can't interact with clients. Someone like her should be fired, but Catherine has a powerful ally who protects her from any consequences. That ally is her mother, Yolanda. Yolanda is a department head at the main office and has made significant contributions since she joined, giving her strong influence within the company. Naturally, no one in our branch can oppose her, not even our branch manager, George Miller. Catherine takes advantage of this and causes a fuss every time something happens. I'll tell my mom. Also, it's a problem that Yolanda frequently visits the company under the pretext of inspections. Catherine mainly hinders others, so her work performance is extremely poor. I'd want her parent and boss, Yolanda, to scold her properly. But for some reason, only the surrounding employees get reprimanded. Catherine was a very hard-working student preparing for college exams. If she's not performing, well, it's definitely because of her environment. Yolanda says this loudly. But Catherine didn't study much as a child and failed her college entrance exams. Moreover, during her gap year, she hardly studied at all and was unemployed until she was 22. Yolanda used her influence to get Catherine a job through connections, and now she's become a troublemaker. How do I know all this even though I'm not part of their family? Because Catherine told me herself. At the new employee welcome party, Catherine described herself as a hard worker. I've been studying for an hour a day since I was a kid. Well, sometimes you need breaks, so I took 4 days off a week. Catherine said this with confidence, but anyone could meet that 1-hour study time by just doing their homework. An employee who attended a competitive school said it was normal to study for 8 hours a day, on weekends during exam season. Catherine's study habits hardly qualify as hard work. I failed my college entrance exams in my senior year, but I realized that life isn't just about studying. So I tried various things to broaden my horizons. This statement itself is fine, but Catherine enrolled in a voice acting school and quit after 2 months. Then she enrolled in a programming school and dropped out after a month, repeating this pattern of giving up quickly. As a result, time just passed without her gaining any skills. But the trouble part is that Catherine feels she accomplished something. Shortly after joining the company, she said this while fiddling with a computer. I went to a computer school, so difficult tasks are a piece of cake. However, what Catherine was doing was merely calculating totals and averages on a spreadsheet. It's something all employees can do, and nothing to boast about. She feels like she has done a huge job just by creating a simple document. Mission accomplished. Therefore, even if I want to assign her the next task, she runs out of energy and doesn't do anything. Currently, she can only manage to create 3 documents a day, making her work performance the worst by far. She's truly a deadweight employee. But her outrageous behavior doesn't stop there. One day, while I was helping my mother at her flower shop on my day off, Catherine and Yolanda came in together. I had a bad feeling, but I greeted them with a smile. Welcome, I said. However, Catherine immediately scowled upon seeing me. You, why are you here? She snapped. I came to find flowers for my house, but now I'm in a terrible mood. Oh, you're the employee ruining everything. Get out. Even Yolanda started hurling insults at me. I was exasperated but decided to treat them courteously as valuable customers. This is my mother's shop, and I help out on my days off, I explained. But then, Catherine kicked over a bucket of flowers. Yolanda followed suit by smashing a nearby potted plant onto the floor. That plant wasn't for sale, but was a flower my mother had nurtured with care. Why would you do such a thing? I hurriedly stood the bucket upright and rushed the potted plant, but the floor was soaked and the pot couldn't be restored. Catherine then flashed a malicious grin. A troublesome store like this should just go out of business. I only helped move things in that direction. That's right. I felt Catherine's intent, so I got a bit rough. Afterward, the troublesome duo smugly exchanged remarks about how great mother-daughter power is, but it was a nightmare for us. Moreover, my mother, who had just returned from a flower delivery, saw the state of the shop and was wide-eyed. Oh, we helped you destroy your store? old hag. Let's go, Mom, Catherine said. Yes, Catherine. I don't want flowers from such a shabby store anyway. Let's go somewhere else. Bye, old hag, Yolanda added. The two left, spewing hateful remarks, leaving my mother and me to clean up the mess. When I explained what had happened, she looked very sad. Of course, she was devastated as the flowers she cherished were damaged. Those people are really something. If they do anything again, we need to come up with a plan, my mother said. I agreed with her, and we decided to install security cameras. However, we unexpectedly had to confront the son again. One day, I attended a company party held at the headquarters. This party gathers not only headquarters employees, but also those from all branches, with over 1,000 attendees. It's quite a grand event. While only employees can attend, I was allowed to bring my mother. We arrived 2 hours before the scheduled start time, waited for preparations to finish, and then the party began. The company president had generously prepared a buffet with delicious food, and we could eat as much as we wanted. There's nothing more grateful than this. Though my mother is older, she still has a hearty appetite and loves meat. This is so good, she said, enjoying the roast beef. Seeing her happy face made me very pleased. However, our peaceful mother-daughter time was interrupted by none other than the Simpsons. Wow, look at those poor folks getting excited over cheap meat, Catherine mocked. Don't become like that. Such cruel words ruined our mood. I wished they would leave soon, but they didn't. Isn't this party only for employees? Why are you here? Yolanda questioned. Catherine added, There's no place for an old hag here. Go home. Then she swiftly grabbed my mother's plate and smashed it on the floor. I threw away your cheap meat for you. Oh, but I guess it's a feast for poor people. Oh, Catherine, you've grown into such a kind girl, Yolanda mocked. While the staff hurried to clean up, the Simpsons laughed mockingly. That was the last straw for me. Whether she's my boss or her daughter, I'm going to get truly angry, and I'll make her apologize to my mother. I was about to unleash my anger when my mother spoke first. Catherine, can you call the highest-ranking person in your branch? This one sentence began the downfall of the Simpsons. Of course, Catherine wasn't going to listen obediently. Calling for the boss, you're just a complainer. It's embarrassing for an old hag to get all worked up like this, she scoffed. You're absolutely right. You're so young, yet you understand things so well, Yolanda chimed in, making Catherine think she was right. Look, complainers should just go home, Catherine added, getting even more brazen. But my mother didn't back down. Stop joking around and call the branch manager, she said in a commanding tone, not backing down an inch. Her whole demeanor was intimidating, making it clear she wouldn't tolerate any disrespect. Even the usually audacious Catherine seemed taken aback. Why are you so mad? Fine, I'll call him for you, she said. I could easily handle the branch manager anyway. Yolanda, being even more brazen than Catherine, went to call the branch manager. 5 minutes later, the branch manager, George Miller, appeared. He was sweating nervously, visibly trembling at the thought of his employee causing trouble. I heard that Catherine here did something disrespectful, George said. Actually, when my mother explained the situation, George's face turned pale, and he repeatedly apologized. I'm deeply sorry. Such rudeness towards you, Helen, is absolutely inexcusable. What? Why are you apologizing so much? As the branch manager, you should be defending me. Catherine yelled at him. It's unheard of for a mere employee to act so arrogantly toward the boss. Catherine's attitude was skewed, likely because Yolanda always backed her up. But this situation was bizarre. My mother seemed to notice the oddity too and furrowed her brow. I've heard some things from my daughter, but Catherine, you're worse than I thought. Huh. Don't butt in, old hag. Should I smash that glass too? Catherine got even more aggressive. Meanwhile, George's face grew increasingly pale. Enough. Helen is one of the founding contributors to our branch. Huh. What's that supposed to mean? Catherine looked puzzled, as if she couldn't follow the conversation. How could an old hag like her establish a company? Catherine mocked. Stop being so disrespectful. George interrupted. He began to explain. Our company started as a small business in a single room. When Helen joined, our performance skyrocketed. She worked tirelessly as the first branch manager to establish this branch. Wow, was she really that amazing? Catherine's mouth dropped open as she looked at my mother. Her face was so comically surprised that I almost laughed. That was over 40 years ago. After working at the company until retirement, I left and now run a flower shop. I have little to do with the company now. However, in recognition of her great contributions, we sent her an invitation to the company party every year. She couldn't attend for the past few years, but this year she made it. And yet here we are with this commotion. Even the usually calm George glared at Catherine. This time, George had also accumulated considerable experience. When truly angry, he could be quite intimidating. I'm the daughter of a headquarters manager. Do you really think you can treat me this way? Catherine retorted, though her fear was evident. But it seemed that wouldn't work this time. Don't bring me into this. Now apologize quickly. Yolanda, her last pope, was now cowering and urging her to apologize. Helen is a legendary employee, so even the top executives at headquarters are mindful of her. Plus, it's basic human decency to apologize when you've been rude. You were just causing a scene with me a moment ago. What was that all about? Seeing her mother suddenly change her tune, Catherine was flustered. My mother and I were equally shocked by Yolanda's sudden shift, but she nervously approached my mother with a forced smile. Oh, you must be Helen. I think I saw you at a company party years ago, but you look a bit different, almost like someone else. Are you trying to say I've aged? How kind of you. My mother was clearly annoyed by Yolanda's poor excuse for an apology. Stop saying such nonsense and apologize properly. It's basic human decency, right? Yes, you're right. I am very sorry. Yolanda quickly apologized, but Catherine was clearly not satisfied with this outcome. Mom, you're apologizing too easily. I don't care if she was a legendary employee. She's just an old hag now, Catherine muttered. Though Catherine's words were extremely rude, they also reflected my own curiosity. Did something happen between you and my mother in the past, Yolanda? You seem quite scared of her. No, not at all. Yolanda tried to evade. But my mother seemed to have realized something. Were you the employee who broke the vase? Huh. I don't know anything about the pink vase. Seeing Yolanda's startled reaction, I was convinced my mother was right. How did you know it was pink? My mother didn't mention the color. Oh well, I just thought Helen might like pink, so I guessed. Yolanda offered a flimsy excuse, which was obviously unconvincing. This tendency to make excuses confirmed you were the one who broke the vase, my mother asserted and began to recount the vase incident. Years ago, when I was still working at the company, a young Yolanda got drunk at a party. It was my birthday party, and she shouted, "I don't care about the old lady's birthday," and broke the pink vase I got as a present. That's terrible behavior for an adult. I looked at Yolanda with disdain, and my mother sighed deeply. That night, Yolanda was too drunk to have a conversation, so we sent her home. She came to apologize the next day, but all she did was make excuses, which only made me angrier. I'm terribly sorry about that, Yolanda said, her tone laced with insincerity. Helen scolded me so harshly back then that I even had nightmares about it. To be that scared and yet forget about my mother. I must have looked utterly exasperated. Yolanda, sensing my glare, awkwardly spoke up. I did compensate for the vase, so let's just drop this topic. Oh, Mom, that's so lame. I didn't know you'd change your stance so easily, Catherine muttered, making Yolanda glare at her. After all I've done to protect you, this is what I get. Yolanda snapped. Huh, isn't that what parents are supposed to do? They love their kids more than anything, so... It's only natural, Catherine retorted. What an odd, audacious statement. Even though Catherine was outlandish, I thought she had some love for her mother. After all, Yolanda had always protected her, and they seemed close. I assumed she had some gratitude, but clearly she was beyond that in a bad way. Of course, while I stood there stunned, Yolanda began to genuinely get angry. You think that way. I never thought you'd be so ungrateful. Like I said, it's just what parents do. I can't feel gratitude, Catherine scoffed. Think about all the hard work I put in raising you. It wasn't easy. Catherine is indeed a selfish person who still relies on her parents. Living with someone like her for years must have been exhausting. You were neither good at studying nor sports, and you caused trouble at school. Think about how embarrassing that was for me. Yolanda was speaking passionately, with no sign of stopping. Even after high school, I spent money sending you to various places, but nothing lasted. So, I had to use connections to get you a job. You owe me for all the money I spent, Yolanda finally said. Catherine turned red with anger. Shut up. If you're going to say that, I don't need you anymore. I can live on my own, Catherine retorted. Fine then, get out of my house. In the end, Catherine and Yolanda argued and stormed off in different directions. George later promised to properly apologize and take disciplinary action. But my mother and I were just left, exasperated by the Simpsons. Following George's orders, the Simpsons were removed from the venue, and the party ended on a high note. However, I sincerely hope to never spend time with them again. A week later, my mother and I visited a regional branch. This branch is known for its strict work environment, and we were here to meet someone. On our way to the meeting area, we heard a scream. The next moment, a door burst open, and Catherine ran out, hiding behind me. I can't stand anymore. Stop that man, please, she shouted, pointing to where she came from. A tall man, over 6 feet, emerged. Well, if it isn't Andrew. This was Andrew Garfield, a manager at this regional branch. He used to work at my branch, and we got along well. He's a person with guts, bringing energy and support to the department. Diana and Helen, isn't it? Thank you so much for coming all this way. I apologize for any inconvenience or mess you may have encountered. What happened? I asked. Catherine ran away crying. When I asked for an explanation, Catherine started to cry loudly. Andrew is scary, she sobbed. But Andrew isn't the type to push someone without a reason. I figured Catherine must have done something, so I decided to hear the details in the meeting room. Catherine had been transferred to this regional branch the day after the company party. This place is known for reassigning problematic employees, so Catherine came here for re-education. Being forced to move is so annoying, Catherine grumbled. But she had been given special treatment all this time, so she had no right to complain. She should have been transferred much earlier, but it only happened now because Yolanda's protection was gone. After a week, it was assumed the chaos of the move would settle down, and we planned to receive a proper apology from her. However, we were greeted with this mess instead. Actually, I told her to prepare some documents on the computer and make copies, but she snuck out to a nearby corner. When I scolded her, she started crying and ran to you for help. It's clearly Catherine's fault, Andrew explained. I sighed and Catherine cried even harder. My salary is down, and I have no motivation. Plus, this place is in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing fun around here, she whined. You're in no position to complain. You should be grateful to still have a job. You could have been fired long ago, Andrew replied. Catherine responded to Andrew's anger by saying, I'm quitting. I can't do this anymore. The company wouldn't miss you. You're a burden here. I couldn't help but speak my mind. Andrew nodded. You're right. This place is for employees with no other options. If you can't put in the effort here, you should quit. That's so harsh, Catherine exclaimed. I don't want to stay here, but being told so bluntly that I'm not wanted is still hurtful. Catherine's reaction was complex, but still annoying. Stop babbling and decide. Quit or work hard, my mother snapped, losing patience. Reluctantly, Catherine said, I'll quit. So it was decided she would quit. Even Andrew, known for handling difficult cases, gave up on her, so it was the best decision. Before you go, apologize for the incident at the party, Andrew prompted. Catherine reluctantly apologized. I'm sorry. Since we couldn't expect a better apology, my mother and I decided to leave it at that. As we headed home, we talked about how awful the Simpsons were. 10 days later, my mother and I were working at the flower shop when suddenly a duo wearing masks burst in. Give us the money. If you resist, you'll regret it, they shouted. Even though they tried to disguise their voices, it was clear they were women. Both my mother and I were startled by the sudden intrusion. This store has security cameras. I'll call the police now, I said. As soon as I said this, they started to panic. Wait, what is that? Is calling the police allowed? Isn't that against the rules? Hearing their voices, I immediately recognized who they were. You two are the Simpsons, aren't you? Your voices are back to normal. As soon as I said that, the two who looked like the Simpsons panicked even more. I was probably right. Oh no. What do we do, Mom? Yolanda said. Don't call me Mom. They'll figure it out. The one who sounded like Yolanda scolded the one who sounded like Catherine, confirming they were indeed the Simpsons. Are you here for money or just to mess with us? I asked. Catherine responded, Sure, we want money, but making you uncomfortable is enough. But you should still give us $100. It's only polite. Yolanda added nonsensically, but I don't want to give even a penny to people who come wearing masks. While this idiotic conversation was happening, my mother appeared. I called the police from the staff phone. The station is nearby, so they'll be here soon. Upon hearing this, Catherine and Yolanda started to freak out. We need to run. We need to run, they said in unison, opening the door only to find 6 passers-by gathered there. This area is fairly busy, and people were bound to notice 2 masked individuals causing a commotion. Hey, they're criminals. Don't let them get away, someone shouted. We'll hold them down. 2 young men entered the store and restrained the Simpsons. Oh no. Help, Mom. The Simpsons cried out pathetically. But other passers-by joined in, and they were quickly subdued. The police arrived shortly after, and they were promptly taken away in a police car. The Simpsons told the police the same motive they had told me earlier. After Catherine was fired, she ran back to Yolanda in tears because Yolanda caused such a scene at the company party, which had a gathering of 1,000 people. She was demoted and eventually resigned. Lost and unsure what to do, they had been hiding at home. The company had been trying to contact them for an apology, but they ignored all communication. Having nowhere to go, they reconciled and decided to stick together. They irrationally blamed my mother and me for their downfall and attempted this foolish crime. We thought we could get some money and leave after a quick scare, but we stayed too long and things got out of hand. We are truly sorry. Catherine and Yolanda came to the store later and apologized. There were no damages, and they seemed genuinely remorseful, so they were let off with a stern warning. However, we still felt nothing but disdain for them. This is all your fault. Stop blaming others and running away. Don't interfere with Diana's life. You're banned from this store. When my mother and I said this, the Simpsons apologized in unison. We are very sorry. We are very sorry. Diana works at the same company as I did, but she passed the entrance exam on her own, without my help. She's been working hard without relying on me. Catherine and Yolanda, it's time for you to be independent. My mother's stern words gave me the courage to speak my mind. Catherine and Yolanda, you are both too selfish. From now on, stop blaming others and learn to stand on your own. Otherwise, you'll remain unhappy. Yes, yes, they responded meekly and left with their heads hung low. Finally, peace returned to our lives. 2 months later, I was walking near a park and saw the Simpsons arguing loudly. You're not my mother. Go wherever you want. Fine, you can't live on your own anyway. They shouted at each other. We're practically homeless. Why don't we have any money? Oh, right, you spend it all on brand-name goods. Those were rewards for myself. I spent money on your education. They were clearly arguing over money, as indicated by the statements implying a lack of funds. As I thought, how disruptive they were. 3 rough-looking young men started yelling at them. Hey, shut up. Sorry. The Simpsons fled in fear, but the young men pursued them. Don't run away. The young one's kind of cute. I'd like her to be my girlfriend, one of the young men said. This made me wonder what would happen if they couldn't escape. But if I helped them, they'd probably ask for money, so I quickly left the park and went home. Meanwhile, I continued working at the company. Recently, I was promoted to department manager in recognition of my achievements. Even though it's at the branch level, my salary has significantly increased. With Catherine and Yolanda gone, work has become much easier and more enjoyable. George, our branch manager, no longer gives special treatment to any employee and maintains proper discipline within the office. With the troublemakers gone, he's visibly happier. My mother still runs her flower shop and seems as happy as ever, surrounded by flowers. Oh, this flower is about to bloom. It's going to be beautiful. Seeing my mother's joy fills me with happiness too. It's an ordinary scene, but I hope this simple happiness lasts for a long time as I continue living my life.